So, aloha, welcome to class everyone. I just want to start off by introducing my topic. I want to teach wine studies in the high school level, so it'll be between 7th and 10th. Every high school is different. And usually I just take a first year, which is a very short amount of time, to learn everything, or most of the wine studies or the culture. Usually most of it in just one year, or one class year. So to start off, traditionally, all of wines are taught by the kahuna, their grandparents. Everything that they know in life, from learning who they are, learning the language, learning how to plant, how to grow, everything in your life, imagine everything that you ever know will be taught by your grandparents. And so in result, the same child or the grandchild that grows up, they in turn have to teach everything that they know to their grandkids. So if you guys have a piece of paper and pen, let me get you guys some paper.
Maybe grab a couple out of that printer. And
Oh yeah, I can do that.
I got pens for you guys. You guys can take a minute to write down everything you know or that you would teach your future children or grandchildren about Paloa. So you guys can just write down as many notes as you can in a minute.
About what?
Paloa. If you guys know, if you know anything about Paloa, just write down. Or in other words, I'll give you guys a hint. Palo. You guys know anything about Palo or Palo? Just write that down.
Did you say color?
Yeah. Just do 30 more seconds. Okay. So you guys are some points. You start. Explain what you wrote on your piece of paper and share it with us.
You said color, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just wrote down, I think color is fun.
The plan?
Yeah.
Is there anything else you wrote?
I said colors are fun, you can put the leaves on your leaves.
Oh, okay. Good. Thank you.
First holiday name,
Ah, okay.
and his brother is Carlos, and that's famous food.
That's,
Hawaii.
that's good. Thank you. A lot. Mata, do you want to explain anything or from previous learning or knowledge? What do you know about Palo?
I think what she said, she's the first one that, I don't know if it's Sky, Ryan, yeah.
That's good. Yeah, we'll go more into that. So, going into the story or the Mo'olelo of Paloa, it's actually one of the most well-known stories in the Hawaiian language or the Hawaiian culture. But before going into that, the Hawaiian culture is very known for having two meanings of the same word. So there's always that underlying relation or connection to something else. They like to describe things by relating it to something else. So just for example, vai, which means water, you can see here, they use vai as the meaning as water, but also means rich. Same word, two different meanings. So in Hawaiian culture, they saw that those that had water or fresh water as streams were those that were rich, that had plentiful, because with water comes life, and you can plant and you can do a lot of things. Without water, you have no life. So vai means water and rich. Another one is pua. This is the hua, but pua means flower. And so all the different flowers is just referred to as like pua. But a lot of times you'll hear the word pua in chants and stories and songs. Another meaning of pua is children. So just like how one tree or one grandparent will have a whole bunch of flowers, the same as the Hawaiian people, they believe that one person or one kapuna would have many grandchildren and generations of children. So pua means flower, but also means children. So now that you guys kind of have a little introduction to the Hawaiian culture having both meanings or underlining relationship, we'll go into the story of Haloa. So this one, it starts off with Papa and Wakia. Papa is Earth Mother, Wakia is Sky Father. So they believe they were the creation or the very beginning of this road that they had. So Papa and Wakia together had a child, which is Ho'ohupu'ani. And so she was the very first person, or the very first child. She ended up having a child who was this one's a very long name, so you might not ever remember it, but Haloa Nakalau Kapalili. So this was Haloa, basically in short. He was the very firstborn who was he came out stillborn. He didn't make it. So Ho'ohupu'ani actually buried him on the side of the house. And from his grave came the kalo plant, which we know today as taro. That's where they believe the kalo came from, was their very first older brother. Ho'ohupu'ani actually had another child who became Haloa, or who was named Haloa, in memory of their older brother, the one who became the kalo. And so they believe this relationship of man being connected with the land. They believe that the older brother, Haloa, who was a kalo, was the one that took care of the younger brother, who fed them, who gave them life. And in the Hawaiian diet, I was about like 80 or 90% of all they ate was kalo. And so everything that the Hawaiian people grew off of, they believed was their older brother, who was connected to the land. So they believed not only was the land important to them, but it was their ancestor. It was their older brother who was taking care of the younger brother. Has anyone ever planted taro before? You guys ever planted taro? Do you want to explain this cycle of how it grows? Just if you want to start with the mature plant, what happens once it's nice and mature?
Yeah, so I remember when it's nice and mature, like, we take it home and then cut it, and so we eat the lower part, the root part, and then we plant that little, the top. Yeah. So I remember we kind of cut it on this part here.
Yeah.
And then we eat the bottom part and we plant it just like how, just that top one. So we don't have the leaves, so we cut off the leaves too when we plant it.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, so exactly what you said, once the plant is mature, they cut off the bottom part, the taro, which is what they would make poi out of, and that's what they would cook and eat. The leaves, they cut off and would eat too. Today you probably have like, lau and a whole bunch of really good stuff that all comes from the leaf. And then just the stem or the huli, which is like cut right below, they plant that, and then from that little top part will grow the roots, and from there it'll grow another whole plant, and it just goes over and over. It's just a never-ending cycle. So they believe like the more you planted kalo, the more you took care of the land. The more you planted it, it actually brought in more nutrients and soil to the ground. So not only was it feeding them, but it was taking care of their environment, the land around them. So whenever you hear a lot of the Hawaiians, they talk about Haloa, they believe that they are Haloa, because Haloa is their older brother, and which is what take care of them, and they actually are fed from this plant, the kalo. Today you'll see this important relationship taught in many of the schools. People all over the islands are taking on field trips, or whether it's their families. Hawaii is known for having the YPO taro field or kalo fields, they have hundreds and thousands of pounds of kalo that they harvest and raise and they feed their community. Here on this island, Waihole is another big place to get her to go to the taro farms or for class. Kahana, most of the times I know they take their students to Kahana Valley where they go into the lily patch and they plant this, the kalo plant.
My wife went there on a field trip one time.
To Kahana?
Mhm.
They have actually, they're building theirs.
It was really nice. She showed me pictures and she really enjoyed it. She loves doing stuff like this, but yeah.
Did you go to the BYU campus or the Hawaii campus?
Yeah.
We went to,
I know, I'm taking the Malama Aina class there, Kamwa'e, he's trying to plant more kalo on campus. They actually have, it's like about 6 of these beds that they're growing. But it's hard because, I guess, from what I heard, the sugarcane company, because Hawaiians want to raise kalo and that's what they lived off of, they actually brought this, I'm not sure if you ever seen that little pink snail. It looks like bubbles on the taro fields. Anyways, they grow on the water and they eat the plant. So it's really bad for the kalo, but they brought it in and it's been a big problem ever since it came
Who
here.
brought it in?
They said the sugar company brought it in. Or back, it was way back then,
So
years ago.
it won't kill the sugar cane?
No, it only grows on fresh water and it eats the kalo. I don't know, I'm not sure where they brought it from, but from what I heard, I don't know if it's true or not, but
I think they said Kahana is like the only one that doesn't have
that,
cells.
wow. Because I didn't see it in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you ever go to like, even I know in Waihole, they had a big problem with those snails. And they're just real tiny. But today, you guys know, most of our food is imported into the Hawaiian Islands. Over 90% of our food even today is brought from other places around the world. This is just a picture of downtown Aloha Tower. This used to be the highest tower in Hawaii back then. And now you can see it's taken off. Today in our society or our culture, they lost that importance of being connected to the land to take care of this road. This is our future. This is where we want our children to live. We need to take care of this land. And Hawaiians saw this relationship of being able to take care of the land. And it's hard today. A lot of people, I have a lot of friends that are from town who've never planted kalo before, who never heard the story of kalo. So more and more you see this kind of like this disconnect from our people to the land.
So I have another question. So when it says I am Haloa, they're saying it's almost like an identity, their identity with the older brother, and like almost like more than an ancestor. They're not saying that like he's an ancestor, they're saying that like they are him because he sustains them.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah, sure. And they most of the times they say that because they're saying this relationship between them and the land. You know, that the land is the most important commodity in their life. They want to take care of it. So when they say I'm Halo, they're saying like Halo is in us, we're part of Halo, and we need to take care of it if we're able to survive. I'm not sure if you guys heard of the Ho'opili debate. This is in Ewa actually. Ho'opili is one of the largest ag lands on Oahu. They grow more kalo than most other farms, and they actually are just lost the court case to save Ho'opili. It's being turned over to 12,000 homes now, and the reason why they're taking it over, or the state passed the bill, is because they're building the rail through Ho'opili, and so they actually got rid of all these ag lands, or it's in the process of getting turned over from ag land to residential. So
Wow.
it's known as the breadfruit or the bread basket of Oahu. It's not the only farm, but it's definitely one of the largest that has been lost to
That's
homes.
that's terrible.
Yeah, so if you guys this was a big issue last year. I know it was in a lot of court cases, was fighting over Ho'opili, which is very sad. Today, you see our society has so much, I don't want to say greed, we take before we give. And everything we do, all our trash, it leads up somewhere. You know, sometimes we just think it goes into a dump and then we'll never see it again. But that dump goes somewhere. and all our pollution ends up in the third world countries. Those are poorer and less, less fortunate than we are. They have to deal with this whole road pollution that ends up in their homes, and it actually destroys their way of life. Not only this, but in China, or a lot of the Asian countries, pollution is the biggest problem, or smog, air pollution. They have so many factories that are burning coals and fossil fuels to keep their society running that, I remember there's a video we saw in, it was in the GCB, it's called This Changes Everything. It said that over half of the year, you couldn't see anything around you because there's so much smog in China. So more than half of the year was full of smog that even the people couldn't go outside because it was so bad for your health, for your breathing. So that's why I always wondered when a lot of the Asian tourists come here, they're always wearing that mask. I thought they were scared of being like a disease from us, or like they're scared of, if they were sick. I didn't know why they're always wearing this mask, but they're actually wearing it because they don't believe the air is safe. They wear it everywhere they go in China because the smog is so bad that most of them are getting like asthma and health concerns, diseases, all because of the air that they're breathing. So I can't even imagine having to wear a mask every day just because the air is so polluted. Another thing that the video showed us was that the Amazon, over millions of acres are being destroyed. And we don't know about it, but these large companies are destroying all these Amazon forests to put cows, pastures, because of our society or our culture of eating McDonald's, hamburgers. We eat so much beef that the United States can't contain or raise enough beef or cows for our consumption, so they're going to the Amazon and they're clearing thousands and millions of acres just so that they can raise cows and soybeans, which the soybeans are fed to the cows. So all of this.
So I got a little fun fact for you. I saw in a documentary. Fossil fuels, pollution and automobile exhaust and all of that, in actuality only makes up about, it was either 3 or 13% of the what do you call it? The global warming.
The CO2,
But the methane that comes out of cow manure and the cow stuff is 51% of all of the greenhouse gases come from livestock of the world. It's crazy. Like the amount of grain it takes to feed all of the cows in the world for one day would feed the entire world for like 3 years.
Yeah, I don't know that.
Yeah, it's insane.
And that,
I mean, you think about it, like, just think about how much meat people eat in this world, and it's just mind-boggling because it comes from somewhere.
You should watch the doc. I'm not sure if you've ever seen it, Cowspiracy. It's on Netflix or
Yeah.
Cowspiracy.
I have seen that.
Really? That was a new. I've always like heard of pollution and like trying to like live better without like being so polluted and doing like the cars and CO2 emissions. But most of the pollution, like you said, is very important. Doesn't come from cars and burning fossil fuels and all that bad stuff. It actually comes from the food we eat, from beef. So it's a lot of times you go to a lot of these organizations that are for saving the globe, for like taking care of climate change and global warming, but they say nothing about the cows, the problem with methane gas. It's all about fossil fuels and cars and pollution. They don't mention ever saying that 51% is from the stuff we eat.
And the guy goes around and they won't even talk to him.
Yeah, that's true. So just think about you guys. It's hard because a lot of us, once I saw that, it'd be hard to go vegetarian. I know my dad did, but it's something you guys can change. You guys remember this relationship between you and the land. This is what you guys are doing for your children. It might not matter too much today, but tomorrow in the end, it's all gonna come back and hurt us. So just think about. I saw this little meme. I thought it was pretty cool. how people in the 90s saw the future. They saw it as amazing and glorious and like all these new like renovations and technologies. But then the way we see it now, we're destroying this earth. We're not making it better than what they were doing back in the 90s. So the future is everything that we choose today. I just want to say that there's things that you can do that can change. You can definitely plant more plants in your yard or anywhere you go in your home. There's definitely things you can do. I just wanted to play this short little clip.
Correctly in school on times.
Now here in Kauai, we try to teach our children about all of these elements of nature. There's one story that comes from our traditions, and it's the story of Haloa. Ha is the breath of life. Loa means long. So Haloa in English means the long breath of life. Haloa is the name of the first taro plant that was given to us by Wakea, the Sky Father, and Papa, the Earth Mother. Their daughter Ho'ohokukalani gave birth to this child, and the child was stillborn. She placed it in the earth, and from that spot the first taro plant began to grow. When she gave birth again, the second birth was a human being. So in our traditions, man came after this plant. The story says that as long as we have the taro plant, or kalo, and as long as we take care of that plant as an older sibling, it will feed us, which is the job of the firstborn in the family.
Watershed, and just how do you scale that up? And eventually, you scale up to the globe.
Set off for these islands. In order to find their way, they needed to be deeply in tune with nature and have faith that they were going to find their way. And in order to find our way today, those are the same things we need to do.
They tune in to all those things of nature to teach them, to show them their path.
I named my son Kaniwala, which means the living ancestor. And the reason why I named him that is because I wanted him to be raised with the recognition that one day he's going to be an ancestor.
The deeper meaning behind Aina is that which feeds us. And it's that which feeds us not just physically, but also emotionally and spiritually.
We can teach a whole new generation about holistic thinking, critical thinking, and the truth. The truth will prevail.
Eala'i, Malama Aina. Wake up, everyone, and take care of our earth. It is the only place we have to live. We must take care of it for all future generations.
Living on an island is like us living on island Earth. We here on Kauai have nowhere to go. We love this place, we want to stay here, so we have to take care of it.
You put love into it, it's gonna shine.
We vote every time we buy food. We vote. We vote for either sustainable, healthy food, or we vote for biotech, industrial ag.
That's another thing the GMOs.
There is a tremendous need for everyone to be tuned in, to listen to ho'olohe, to the rhythms of this earth. And most of all, to share aloha, to share love, aloha kikahi, love and respect one to another. That's all I ask.
So just going off of this video, just want to share, like, if you guys want to be happy, you guys want to live a good life, it all depends on the things you do, either Fuji or taking care of this land. Like I said, in the end, it's gonna be the choices you make today that will change our future. This video is just a short video. I talk about GMOs and pesticides that are a big problem in Kauai. Kauai is the #1 testing ground for all the GMOs and pesticides for these large companies. And in the video, I showed that these students or these kids that are nearby this testing land were getting sick because of all the pesticides that are going into the air that was going over to the school. GMOs, a lot of GMOs, some of them take out the nutrients in your food. So most of the food you eat is all GMO, just to give you a heads up. But some of the GMOs are bad, they take out all the nutrients in your food, and some GMOs are not really that bad, they just, they help from keeping you sick or from bad things that are going into your body. But it's the pesticides, that's the main thing that are bad. Pesticides are created from a nerve gas that was created back in the war that was meant to kill people. Now they're just changing it here and there to spray it on these plants, which is why they're creating GMOs, so that the plants that are GMO can survive all these pesticides that are killing everything but that plant. And so it's that pesticides that are being put into our foods that we're eating that are harming us.
But they're actually changing the molecular structure of the seeds, so that when the seeds grow, they've already got that pesticide or chemical in it,
Yeah.
so that it won't, get eaten by bugs or whatever. But that's why, we can hardly avoid that.
Oh, yeah.
And no wonder there's so much cancer and all these incurable diseases. It's everywhere.
Because everything that we eat back then, that no one ever got these sick or these cancers and health problems back then because they were eating more healthier organic foods. Today, the only reason why we have GMOs and pesticides is because those large companies that are greedy, they only care about profit.
Yeah,
More
there's like 4 of them.
that are running the
Control
whole
the
globe.
world.
So those are the ones that are making these foods that only care about making more and more profit so that they can get more rich. It's just all about greed. And we know that in the end, that's what's gonna destroy us, is by, just destroying our whole world over making a profit over our culture. So for you guys' homework, you guys can go to Venmo and watch Aina, That Which Feeds Us. I'll give you guys till next Monday and I'll check out to see if you guys watch it. It's a very short video. But the story of Haloa is not just a story for Hawaiians or of the Hawaii people. It's a story for all of us. All people, all cultures, all of us live on this globe. We all have that same similar story of taking care of the land, and in return the land will take care of us. I think it's most important that we need to make sure we change those little everyday choices that we make. Here on campus, I don't know, but they actually have a bee farm. That they grow their own bees, they harvest bees, and from there you can get fresh honey. So if you guys want, after class, I got some fresh honey that we grew on campus, and that we can, share with you guys. it's something that I changed my lifestyle. I try to stop eating McDonald's. You know, hamburgers are my favorite. I still haven't stopped eating McFlurries because I love ice cream, but I stopped eating the hamburger. It's been over 2 or 3 months since I've had a hamburger at McDonald's.
Well, you just gotta remember that they're full of chemicals. I mean, I read about a thing that there's some factories in New Jersey, which is kind of the chemical making place of the United States. And they blindfolded somebody and had them smell 2 different things. One was a French fries, McDonald's French fries, and the other was just a spoonful of chemicals. And they smelled it, and they said it was exactly the same thing. And they took off the blindfold and just saw this liquid chemical right there. It smelled exactly like the French fries. How do they make McDonald's so same everywhere in the world? It's all the same.
It's because it's just a small chemical.
Chemicals.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Just something for you guys to think about. Just please, this is your future. This is our future. Make sure you just at least watch this video and do your best to live healthier. I say this, and that's it. Thank you.
Well, I believe it too. You happen to hit a topic that